Hello, crafty friends. Welcome to Stamp and Create with Beth. I'm Beth Roy, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm going to make this fault line card with you. So I used some different things here. Everything's already cut and ready to go. I do want to show you this beautiful paper. This piece is from the Beautiful Gallery 6x6 Designer Series paper by Stampin' Up. There are lots of pretty scene pictures and this floral piece, which really caught my eye. I have a striped patterned piece of Designer Series paper, and that comes from the Boho Vibe 6x6 paper pack by Stampin' Up. For my greeting, I'm going to stamp just a note from the Simply Said stamp set. And I have a die cut circle. I used the Stylish Shapes dies to cut that. And just cut one that fits your greeting. So I have a basic white card base here. It is 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2. And I have some layers here. So this one's a little bit different than I've seen others do. Basically, the idea behind this fun fold or technique is you are tearing your layers apart, and then this pattern piece stays the full length, and when you open it, you see the pattern on the other side. So you layer your pieces, and you actually tear the front of your card. And the fault line, right? So if this were to break apart, it shows all the layers and then the beautiful Designer Series paper underneath. This is typically your card base color, but I wanted to mix this stripe in. So I also have a piece of Calypso Coral two-toned, and I'm using the light side. So you can buy the two-toned in packs. They come in 12 by 12 sheets, and I like that this color is in this paper and it coordinates. So let's get started. All of my layers are 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to fit on the front, and we're going to tear them apart. So I'm going to take this piece, and the only one I'm not tearing is this. So I'm going to layer these just like I want them to go on my card, and I'm going to line them up on the front here, and I'm just going to tear. So I'm going to come to the top here. There's no right or wrong way. You can make it go sideways. You can go straight across, whatever your preference is. I did mine on a little bit of an angle. So I'm just going to hold the pieces together and start tearing, and I'm ripping toward me, and I'm ripping 3 pieces, so they are a little bit difficult to tear. I'm just gonna go, I don't want to go below my halfway point, so I'm just gonna tear like that, and then we are left with this. So you have your card base that you tore apart, and you can slide this down, and then we're going to trim off all the excess. So these will layer. This I want to layer right on that piece. And then this one I'm going to pull up just a little bit. So we'll do the bottom here in a second. Let's go ahead and do the top. So this piece is not torn off. I'm going to adhere this patterned paper right on top here like this, and a little bit of the white will show. And then this piece, we're going to pull it down just a little bit, so just a little bit peeks through, and that's how we create those layers. So I'm just using some liquid adhesive here, and I want to make sure this top is really glued because it's going to be toward the folding part of my card. So I'm just lining that up and going right to my fold line here. Now this piece, I want it to peek out a little bit, so I'm going to pull it down, and I'm going to make sure I only stick adhesive up here toward the top. And then I'm just going to fit that where I want it. So you can leave a little bit showing or a lot, whatever your preference is. Okay. Now, this piece will go in here, and you may want to trim just a little bit off. I'm going to pull it down just a little bit before the fold, and this will be adhered like this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and adhere this so I can kind of see where I want the bottom to go. So I'm just going to put some liquid adhesive right along here. There we go. And down here. I'm going to lay this right here. And you notice I did not go all the way to the line, but I pulled this down just a tad from that score line. And I'm going to line it up. Oops, I leaked a little bit out. That's okay. So then when it closes, there is our peekaboo piece. Now this, you'll notice on here, this is white. So our two-toned is white when you rip it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pieces. I'm going to rip just a little bit off again. I'm going to pull it toward, I'm sorry, do it this way. I'm going to pull it toward me so that I can get some of that white showing. So I'm not ripping off a ton, just a little bit so that white will show. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. You can do them at the same time. I don't want very much to come off of this piece. Oops. There we go. So when you rip and you pull it toward you, the white core shows. So the two-tone paper is printed and it has a white core. So when you tear it, that shows. And the same with our Designer Series paper. That's why when I tore this, it also showed some white. So this is going to adhere together. And I'm just going to adhere it right here because we're going to cut this off and I want to be able to use the scraps. So I'm just going to put some adhesive right along that torn edge. And if you wanted more of that white to show, you could pull it down like we did on the other one. So this will go here. And then this is going to tuck underneath like this. And so I, again, only want to add adhesive right here on the back of this one. So I'm going to just let what I want peek through. Line it up, make sure all your edges align. There we go. Now we're going to, this end is going to get cut off. So I'm just going to adhere this how I want it, as much space as I want here, because we're going to use our trimmer to trim this off. So I want to adhere this to this piece. And I'm just going to adhere along this edge again. So we can save anything that's on the bottom. So I'm just adhering this again, leaving a little bit peeking out. So you can see this is loose in some parts. Okay, so we can cut that apart. I'm going to put this in my trimmer. And I know that this needs to be 5.5. Okay. I'll clean that glue mess up here in a minute. So I'm going to put this fold right at 5.5. And on my trimmer, I know that that is this line. And I'm going to cut. So I'm going to make sure this is all lined up. And then I'm going to run my blade down it. And it has quite a few things to cut. We had a little tiny strip that came off of the underneath pattern, and then we have these layers. And because I didn't have adhesive on these, I can still use these pieces of scrap for another card. So now I just am going to go back in and add more adhesive. So this is loose. I want to add some adhesive in there, just a little bit, to tack down the sides. And anywhere that needs it. You could also tuck in glue dots. There we go. Use my bone folder on that. There we go. I have an adhesive block that I use to clean up when my adhesive goes out a little bit. So there we have the fault line. So again, you can make this as wide as you want. And when you open it, you see the other side. So if you have any edges, I noticed I didn't line mine up exact, you can trim those up. There we go. It was a little crooked. There we go. So now I'm just going to stamp my greeting. And I used Just a Note. You could use whatever greeting you want. These patterns work really well for lots of occasions. And I'm using Secret Sea ink. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap into that ink. Remember, if you're new to using the Stampin' Up! Pads, they are foam and they're very juicy. So that ink will want to squish up and get on the outside of your stamp. So just tap gently and then stamp straight down, straight up. There we go. You can use whatever shape you want. If you don't have circle dies or a circle punch, you could just use a square or a rectangle. Now I'm just going to add my greeting with some dimensionals. And there we have our quick fault line card. So you can stick this anywhere that you want. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed this quick card. Give me a thumbs up if you liked my video, and if you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button. Thanks and take care. See you soon.